Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, as the government are faced with the realities of Brexit, compounding their other failures, including the pandemic, Transport Secretary Grant Shapps has decided to monkey about with our security systems in order to paper over the cracks of their ridiculous policies. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, it's going to be fun if you're planning on jetting off this summer. Fortunately, I don't like to do these things, so I shall just have to sit and watch and sympathise. Because, we're seeing a lot of attempted travel into and out of the country this year. It's the first year since the pandemic began that we haven't had travel restrictions keeping many would-be holidaymakers at home. So there are a lot of people who want to make up for lost time and escape this sheep-infested plague island. But there are also a lot of people who maybe haven't been reading the news who are wanting to visit our delightful little country as well. Maybe historians who want to see firsthand how modern liberal societies descend into fascism in real time. I don't know. Or maybe they just want some fish and chips. Our fish are really happy since Brexit, apparently. But there's a problem in managing all this travel. Staffing, big issue. The boss of Ryanair recently put it down to Brexit. As far as they're concerned, this is Brexit. And it's because they can't hire staff. The hard Brexit has meant that we cut ourselves off from a continental-wide labour market. Yeah, I know that Brexiteers tried to tell you, you have too many people here and that those jobs were needed for native Brits, but they couldn't have been more wrong, assuming they weren't just lying. Do you know what they're saying now? Do you know where it's gone now? These right-wing nut jobs are now saying we need to have more babies. Have more babies! Because the latest census has shown that our population hasn't grown enough over the last 10 years to keep our economy going. No, that they're not arguing for an easing of immigration. Oh, we're not full after all. Oh, we need more people. Oh, should we invite the people from next door? No. We're supposed to have more babies. As if that's going to solve our immediate labour problems. It takes the best part of a year to bang one out and another 16 to 21 years to get them ready for the labour market. We're struggling now. Shouldn't we just hire more from the ready market of workers on our doorstep? No, more babies. Okay, so remind me again why you don't want foreign workers in the UK? Because you're not racist, are you? No, we're not racist. So what's the reason? Yeah, because we've only got so much room here, there's too many people. Okay, so how come we don't have room for foreign workers, but we desperately need to up our game on the baby production line? Yet to see an answer to that one, but as I've been waiting 6 years to hear of a tangible Brexit benefit, I'm not going to hold my breath. But anyway, I digress. As a result of labour shortages, which I'm going to say will also have COVID infections as part of the cause, we just can't get the workers. The latest crisis in our transport system is baggage handlers at airports. Now, I'm not a traveller myself, but reports suggest nothing less than bedlam at airports right now. And this is just the start of summer. This is just the beginning. Schools haven't even broken up yet. Not enough room for would-be passengers to even queue. The poor staff taking the frustration of passengers, so they're getting stressed out. Piles and piles of luggage with nowhere near enough handlers to manage us. It looks like Smaug has decided he's not interested in gold anymore and wanted to collect suitcases. Now, the issue is arguably not just Brexit and COVID, but the fact that the companies got rid of a load of staff during the lockdowns. Unite have complained that these companies took public money, which was supposed to be there to save jobs, but because the government didn't attach any conditions to the money, they just used it to prop up their share price instead of preserving their workforce. So you could argue there are three major factors here. Staff were dropped as a short-term profit solution, leaving them with too small a workforce for when demand would suddenly shoot up. Now, the airport staff, the airline companies, may well have imagined that they'd just hire more staff. Well, COVID will also have almost certainly have further weakened their workforce with higher absences than would have been normal pre-COVID. It's very difficult to get data there because no one wants to talk about that. But then our post-Brexit immigration system means that companies, when they want to hire some more people, demand's gone up, let's hire some more people. What do you mean we can't? We've got real problem hiring staff to get the workforce back up to strength. Bit of an old mess if you ask me, because the situation we have right now in the country is there are more vacancies than the government claim there are unemployed people. So they're really fighting for the workers, it's not like, oh, we'll just hire more workers. Like, what do you mean there aren't any more workers? Well, can't we get them from Europe? What Brexit? What's that? It's like they had no idea what was going on. But the specific issue here is there aren't enough baggage handlers. I mean, there's plenty of staff we're struggling for. But right now, this particular issue, baggage handlers. And when new staff are taken on, of course, there are security clearances required. Of course there are. They're going to be working in an environment that is a favourite target of terrorists due to the massive numbers of people jammed together in an important area of national and international infrastructure. So some background checks are required. These take a while. In the meantime, the flights will continue to be cancelled because of the lack of staff. And this is a major weakness, for the Tories in Brexit. Because being honest, there are potentially more serious consequences of Brexit, but this one's really visible. And it's also really hard for the government to blame something else. Because, yes, there are multiple factors. And the government often, when there's multiple factors, try and downplay the impact that Brexit's had. But what do they blame instead here? When it comes to inflation, they blame the war in Ukraine. What do they blame here? If the government blamed the companies for getting rid of staff during lockdowns, oh, you should have got rid of all your staff, you idiots, we paid you to keep them on. Well, then people may ask them, so why didn't they keep them on then, if that's what the money was for? Why didn't that happen? Why don't you take the money back if they got rid of those staff? The government, I don't think they want to be spending a lot of time blaming that, because there's an awful lot of questions come back on them. I'm quite sure they're not going to blame COVID infections, because they're trying to furiously pretend that the issue's largely gone away. So where Boris Johnson's government often deal with a problem by just blaming external factors and then doing nothing about it, it's not really an option here. It's a major source of disruption where the non-Brexit factors are also a sensitive area for the government, and there's a lot of key voters going to be pissed off. So they actually have to deal with this one. Not by actually tackling the root cause of the problem, of course, that'd be ridiculous. No, they just want a sticking plaster fix. According to the Mirror, Transport Secretary Grant Shapps has decided to cut the security checks needed by half. Now, this doesn't mean, when I first saw this, what, are you only going to do half a check? That sounds a bit dangerous. No, I don't think that. I think they're still going to have a full check. I think the way he appears to have done this is by prioritising airport staff for the police and MI5 checks. And then you think, well, isn't that going to create log jams in other sectors then? What? I mean, won't that mean that workers in other sectors who need security clearance will be waiting twice as long now? If Grant Shapps is going to say it's going to take half the time for airport staff to get cleared, doesn't that mean it's going to take twice as long for many others? Well, yes, of course. There's no extra resources being put in place to help deal with the sheer volume of security clearance checks needed. So if they put airport staff to the top of the priority queue, they have to put others further down. Hence the sticking plaster solution. They're just going to shift the problem elsewhere. Some other sector's going to have to deal with it. Where they hope it won't be as noticeable. It may have more impact, ironically, but it won't be as noticeable. I also note the quote from Shapps about this announcement. He said, "The government is doing its bit to deliver for passengers. Now the industry must fulfil its responsibilities." Interesting to use the word responsibilities in a sentence where they're trying to absolve themselves of any of their own. See, what he's saying is, this is typical of the Tories. They hate doing any work of government. I've talked about this before. So when they do have to do a thing, as far as they're concerned, that's it. There's never any question about whether the thing they do is enough or even the right thing. Just have they done it? We've done a thing. We've done a thing, so now it's for everyone else. That's it. We've done a thing, now it's down to others. They've reduced the time it takes to get security clearance for new staff at airports. Yeah, that'll help airports, even though it screws over other sectors. But it doesn't help these companies find the new staff in the first place, does it? Remember, according to the government's own figures, there are more vacancies in this country than there are unemployed people. Now, yes, I know there's actually way more unemployed people than they say because of 0-hour contracts and so on. But according to the government's own figures, that's the issue. So it doesn't help them find staff in the first place. It doesn't reduce the number of existing staff becoming infected with COVID. And it doesn't put any pressure on the airline companies to make sure that they maintain an adequate workforce to deal with the demand. So it doesn't actually solve a single one of the root causes of the problem. But when things still don't run smoothly this summer, He'll come out saying, well, I've done my part. And the failures are entirely down to everyone else, probably including Labour somehow. Which means this isn't a quick fix solution while they work on the real problems for the longer term. As far as they're concerned, this is their solution. They will now fall back on their usual method of doing nothing when it doesn't work. The only problems they ever think they need to solve are the ones they can't blame others for. Well, now they'll think they can just blame the airlines. Oh, we did this thing. There should be no problems now. Well, we can't find staff. Yeah, well, when you can find them, you can get them through the security clearance quicker. Yeah, but we can't find them. Well, go looking. Have fun this summer if you're planning on trying to get into or out of this country on biplane. And this is without even considering the ticking clock on those compulsory biometric checks. Be even more fun next year. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.